and I'm about to have a kid and I didn't want to live on a plane for the next couple of years traveling around to different cities. So instead I kind of put everything into a box and have started to find people in their local city or state who I can hand over all these best practices, all these mistakes that we learned, and say, hey, you want to learn how to do this the right way, instead of banging your head against a brick wall like we did for a couple of years, why don't I just open the door for you? When we were looking around at home service companies, people, these kind of old school industries, everybody thought that their marketing and sales was an expense. And the way that we were able to grow so quickly was a lot of these owners show off how little they spend on marketing, and I'm the opposite. I say, how much can I spend on marketing? Because I know my customer acquisition costs, I know my gross margin per sale, and if my customer acquisition cost is lower than my gross margin per sale, buy more marketing. And so finding these channels where we can just shoot the money cannon at customer acquisition, now the only thing that slows me down is capacity.
I love that. There's like a few key metrics I feel like that most business owners know about or most salespeople know about, but they don't know how to calculate it in their business. So the main one for you guys are, tell us like the top 4.
Sure. Yeah, and I would say that in home services for small companies, they don't know these numbers. When you're talking about e-com, when you're talking about post-pilot, when you're talking about these sophisticated internet companies, it's easy for them. But talking about customer acquisition costs to a guy in his 70s in the home services industry, that's like Swahili, right? So you can bring tools that are terribly basic in one industry and they're freaking PhD level tools in local garage upgrades, right? So we're not doing anything that fancy. So our metrics are really, really simple. I'm a big simplicity guy. It's what does it take for me to walk into a home? What percentage do I convert people when I walk in? What's my margin per time I walk in? It's a pretty basic funnel. And so when you look at your different marketing channels, whether it's direct mail, radio, PPC, SEO, you can calculate how expensive it is for you to walk into the home, because when you say walk into the home, that assumes that they're qualified, which is part of our process too, is we squeeze our leads a bit to make sure that we're not just, somebody wants $9 worth of stuff and we drive somebody out there. So that's kind of shorthand, simple metric for opportunities.
This watch is super cool, you say. I know. But the reason that I keep this on is my friend John and I were working on a deal, and it's really easy to fall in love with something that can't love you back. To do an investment because you're already into it, they call it getting pregnant in investing. When you get pregnant with a deal, it means you get too close to it, and you forget that doing a deal is only about one thing. You should only ever invest for one reason and one reason only, which is that you're gonna get a return, that you think you're gonna get the return that you want for the risk that you're gonna get. And how do you know that? By knowing the numbers. So this is my little deal calculator watch. All of you guys, if you're gonna do deals, make sure you remember the number 1 rule. You have to do the work when you first start out in any business, including this one. But at some point, as long as you put these systems and processes in place, other people can do the work while you think about the big strategy. So even you might be able to have a $5 million garage business. Don't fall in love with something that can't love you back, and know your numbers.